Thomas Minis. They've made a lot of these over the years. They were 2015's 10th anniversary toy, and they're fun collectibles, to say the least. They're definitely not my favorite Thomas toy, but there's something charming about the designs, though they definitely went for some pretty weird themes, like this candy theme or these pet themes. But my favorite themes were always the licensed ones. Stuff like DC Comics, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles. It was really fun to see them recreate them. However, you might have noticed I did skip talking about one, SpongeBob SquarePants. You know, the biggest cartoon of all time. It was really fun to see these specifically get recreated. But I will say, seeing the SpongeBob theme always made me wish they'd pick more from the Disney, Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network brand, as I, outside of watching Thomas stuff, am a huge fan of these three channels. It was awesome to see Thomas do a collab with SpongeBob SquarePants. Though I will say, out of those three, Nickelodeon was definitely the one I watched the least. Yeah, blasphemy, I know. Don't get me wrong, I love Nickelodeon. I've been combing through shows I didn't get to grow up with, but it wasn't my main channel. Disney Channel was definitely a little closer, with a lot of shows I really liked growing up and even now, but if there was one of the big three that captured my heart the most as a kid, and now, it'd be Cartoon Network. I mean, where do I even begin? You got Dexter's Lab, Powerpuff Girls, Ed, Edd n Eddy, Courage the Cowardly Dog, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, Chowder, Flapjack, Regular Show, The Amazing World of Gumball, Steven Universe, OKKO, Over the Garden Wall. It's just so many good cartoons. And today, I thought it'd be fun to do my favorite Cartoon Network show is like a minis draft to see what those could have looked like. Of course, I'm talking about the Problem Adventure Time. Without a doubt, my favorite Cartoon Network show, and honestly probably my favorite show of all time, Adventure Time, for 15 years straight, has been a fantastic ride of silliness, weirdness, and, well, existential trauma, too. But yeah, something I loved about it was that it could basically do anything. But we're not here to talk about the show. Instead, I want to talk about what if Thomas did an Adventure Time minis line. Also, thank you to ExpressBean64, who did a similar video about another hit 2010 show, Ninjago. Recommend watching that if you're a fan of Ninjago. I'll leave a link to it. But now, let's get started and see what would an Adventure Time minis line even look like. To start off with the beginning, we have, of course, Thomas, who is going to be Finn, because, well, Thomas always plays the main character in all of these, so he has to be the adventurer Finn the human. But, you know, they are similar enough. Young, adventurous, and go through arcs, at least in Thomas's case for the first couple seasons. But still, it works pretty well, so I'm happy with this. Up next, it's a battle of the best friends. Here we have Percy, who's gonna have to take the role of Jake the dog. The two are not that similar characterization-wise, but it wouldn't really make sense for anyone else to be Jake. Plus, Thomas and Percy in TV show are best friends, so of course, I had to go with these two. And this is another character one that doesn't fit very well, but these three are kind of a package. So we have Toby, who's gonna take on the role of BMO. I feel like Toby's shape and size fits BMO the best, and while characterization-wise they're nothing alike, I think this one's gonna look pretty cool. Plus, Thomas, Percy, and Toby are kind of a trio in the show, and Finn, Jake, and BMO are also, so I feel like this one goes hand in hand. Up next, we have the Ice King, and while they're not similar in personality, the design and color scheme is close enough for me to pick Gordon as the Ice King representative. I don't know, I think the design was just going to look the coolest with Gordon in particular. Maybe it's the design, I don't know. But there's no character that's comparable to the Ice King, so... And it's not like it really mattered in certain minis cases, so let's move on. Taking the spot of Adventure Time's best character, Marceline the Vampire Queen, I chose Emily. I thought the design would be the most closest and fitting for the character. I just think this one would look really cool, honestly. And what's Adventure Time without Princess Bubblegum? And another choice because of the color scheme would be Rosie. The characters are nothing alike, but she's pink, so yeah, that works, I guess. She could be Princess Bubblegum. Okay, so that's basically all the major characters out of the way. Now let's move on to the other ones, basically the side cast that I think they would make as well. To start off with Princess Bubblegum's assistant, Peppermint Butler, I would use Skarloey. The only reason is because the color scheme's really similar, so I think that would work pretty well. They are nothing alike as characters. One's demonic and the other's old. Now we gotta use Flame Princess, and here I thought Millie would work pretty well because, well, they're both royal-esque characters, you know. Also, this series just doesn't have enough female characters, so yeah, this works. Another one I should include is Lady Rainicorn, and mainly due to the length, I chose Rebecca, because, well, I needed to work her in somewhere, and I figured, hey, you know, she's long like Lady Rainicorn. That kind of works. One that is kind of similar in characterization, though, we got Lemongrab, who I'm gonna use James for. Both can kind of be insufferable at times, but while it's very charming for James, it's not so much for Lemongrab.
Unacceptable condition! Unacceptable!
My apology for shattering your eardrums with that. Well, with our final resident of the Candy Kingdom, I chose Cinnamon Bun because, well, who doesn't love Cinnamon Bun? He's just such a likable dude. And I had to pick the most lovable Thomas character, Paxton, to play him, because, honestly, they're pretty similar. Both lovable goofballs who just have fun, and then over the series they actually grow more mature and aware of what's going on in their worlds. I figured I had to add this character in, and because I'm running out of female characters, Nia gets to be Lumpy Space Princess. Solely just because there's not enough female characters in this show to choose from, and with how much merchandise still pushes Nia to this day, surprisingly, I figured she had to be in here somewhere. Now we're on Adventure Time's greatest antagonist, the Lich. And, well, who else to play him but Diesel 10, the dangerous, menacing monster. And the design for this should look really awesome if it looks right. But, yeah, that's my pitch for if Mattel ever wanted to do an Adventure Time Minis line. Now, do I think they'll ever do this kind of cross-promotion? Probably not. I just don't think the audiences clash at all. But then again, I could say the same thing about DC, Ninja Turtles, SpongeBob, Power Rangers, and they still made them. So who knows? Maybe one day this can be a reality, and Mattel can make me happy. But in the meantime, at least they're making pretty solid merchandise still. Hope you guys enjoyed this one, and again, thanks to Express Bean for the awesome idea, because he made his hit Ninjago video. Seriously, go watch it. And, yeah, I think that's it. Please tell me in the comments below what you think of Adventure Time if you've seen it. If you haven't, well, why are you watching this video? Go do it right now. And see you all next time.